ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Hugger3 and welcome to Tech Saturday episode 2. Today I'm giving you guys a $400 budget gaming PC build. Now, I just want you guys to know before I start telling you to build, this build is not the best for running Crysis 3 at ultra settings. It's probably not even the best for running Crysis 3 at the lowest settings. This is a computer that is built for those people who like to play League of Legends or RuneScape or even Minecraft with Optifine installed. So it is that type of computer. You can add more parts to it if you so choose, or you can mess with this design however you feel like, but for $400 this is going to be a good budget build for you. So without further ado, let's get started. So the CPU we're going to be using is the AMD A4-5300 dual-core processor. This is a APU from AMD, and if you don't know what that is, that means that it's an accelerated processing unit, and it just means that you're going to have a CPU and a GPU in one unit. You don't have to go and get a separate one, but if you want to play more games on it, you need to go get a separate one. And this CPU is clocked at 3.4 gigahertz. I don't know what the turbo clock is, but 3.4 gigahertz should be good enough if you plan on overclocking it, or if you just want your computer to run quieter. I would suggest getting an aftermarket heatsink. And for $46.99, you're going to be getting a good CPU for the price. For the motherboard, we're going with the MSI FM2 A55M E33 motherboard. This is a micro ATX motherboard. It has a FM2 socket and the AMD A55 chipset. So the reason why I chose this one, the $49.99 price tag. Two, even though it only has two 240 pin DIMM slots, the max memory it can support is 32 gigs, which is awesome. The only two things that sucks about this motherboard is one, no RAID support, and two, you only have one PCI Express slot, so you cannot crossfire or SLI with this motherboard. So that's sort of a letdown, but it's still a good motherboard for the price. For memory, we're going to be going with the G.Skill RipjawsX series. This is a 1 8GB DDR3 1600 MHz stick of memory. For $49.98, you're going to be getting a good stick of memory for the price. And the one reason why I chose this one is because, one, it's cheap. Two, it has that heat spreader on it, as you guys can see. And with having that heat spreader on it, it just means that you're going to have that stick of memory for a long time. For storage, I went with the Western Digital Caviar Blue. This is a 500 GB hard drive, and it spins at 7200 RPM for $56.49. This is really good for a budget build. If you want to add an SSD, I would say go ahead. But for a budget build, a 500 GB 7200 RPM hard drive is good enough. For the optical drive, I went with the LG GH24NS95 DVD/CD writer. This is a $17.98 optical drive. Now, you really don't need an optical drive in a computer. You could just get a USB Blu-ray one, but I decided to put it in just because I know most people will need it for installing their operating system, but if you're a computer geek now and you know how to install an operating system without an optical drive, I would suggest taking that off and getting a better CPU. For the power supply, we're going to be using the Corsair CX 430 watt power supply. This is a 80+ bronze certified power supply. You really don't want to get a power supply that's not 80+ certified, but this power supply is gonna have more than enough wattage. For $29.99, it is a really good power supply for the price. For the case, I went with the Corsair 200R ATX mid-tower case. This is a $59.99 case, and it's gonna provide you with enough room to install all these components, and you're gonna have room to add more components in the future. And for the operating system, I decided to just go with Windows 8, just because I like Windows 8, and for $89.99, it's a really good price for an operating system. So overall, the total wattage this computer is going to be using is 154 watts. So like I said, the 430 watts is going to be more than enough to power this system. And the total cost of this system is $401.40. So I did go $1 and some change over, but you know, it's not that bad. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smack that like button. A link to this build will be in the description below. And that's it. Let me know what I should do for next week, and I will see you guys in the next video. This is your boy Hagrak3, and I'm out. God bless.